Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Item Breakdowns, a series where we take a look at each item in League of Legends individually, look at their basic stats, passives, build path, as well as animations in the game. Today we're going to be taking a look at probably the most broken Assassin Mythic item right now, Duskblade of Draktharr, an item that gives you an insane amount of AD, lethality, as well as extra on-hit damage on a single target, as well as the ability to make you go invisible upon kill. So without any further ado, let's just jump right into it. So taking a look at the basic stats for this item, right away we see we have 20 ability haste, which is 17% cooldown reduction, 60 attack damage, and 18 lethality, which is scaling armor penetration. So at level 1, we would have 11.2 armor penetration, and at level 18, it will finally max out with a full 18 armor penetration. Now, because this item has armor penetration, attack damage, and ability haste without any defensive stats or magic damage stats, this tells us that this item is exclusively for assassins and maybe in some cases a couple AD fighters. Now, jumping down to the passive portion of this item that does not include the armor penetration passive, it reads as follows. Unique Night Stalker. Basic attacking an enemy champion deals 65 plus 25% of your bonus AD as bonus physical damage on hit and slows them by 99% for 0.25 seconds with a 15-second cooldown. Champion takedowns within 3 seconds reset this effect's cooldown and grant you invisibility for 1.5 seconds. Now, takedowns include kills and assists, so in the middle of the fight, for every takedown that you get, it will reset the passive to 3 seconds of the cooldown's on-hit effect as well as the invisibility portion. This also has a Mythic passive, which reads as follows. Empowers each of your other legendary items with 5 ability haste. So by late game, with boots, this Mythic, and 4 legendaries, you'll get an additional 20 ability haste, which is 17% cooldown reduction. This does have one limitation. As always, it is a Mythic item, so you can only build one of it. However, in this case, we do have something interesting. So if ranged champions build this item, it applies the same amount of damage, but it does not apply the slow that melee champions get. So now that we've covered the stats as well as the passive for Duskblade of Draktharr, I want to get into the proper build path and how to build this item correctly out of the epics that build into the final mythic item. So we have 2 items here, and the first epic item that we're going to build is Serrated Dirk. This gives us 30 attack damage, and we get 10 lethality. Now, flipping over to the second epic item that we are going to build, we have Caulfield's Warhammer giving us 25 attack damage and 10 ability haste, which is 9% cooldown reduction. Now, the reason we want to build the Serrated Dirk first is because Duskblade of Draktharr is a mythic item, meaning that it is the first item that we want to rush. So early game, 30 attack damage and 10 lethality, which is scaling armor penetration, is going to take precedent over 5 less attack damage and 9% cooldown reduction, because we are going to be able to burst our enemies down faster with the Serrated Dirk than we would with the Caulfield's Warhammer. And then once we have both of those items completed, plus an additional 1,000 gold, we will have Duskblade of Draktharr fully built. So now that we've covered the proper build path and the appropriate way to build this item, I'm going to get into the visuals and the animations for Duskblade of Draktharr. So right away in this still image, using Talon as our example, when Duskblade of Draktharr is ready to use, you will see that your champion model has these red animations around the cuffs of their wrist. Now, the next example I want to look at is the brief slow that Duskblade applies. Now, in this example here, you can see Talon walks up to Caitlyn, and when he auto-attacks Caitlyn, she is briefly slowed, and the red animation around Talon's wrists disappear. This means that the damage has gone off and the slow was applied. And for our final example, we're going to take a look at Duskblade's invisibility portion of the passive. So you can see here as Talon, I walk up to Caitlyn and execute her with my abilities. And after she has been executed, my screen turns a shroud shadow, and this signifies that we are now invisible for up to 1.5 seconds. One thing I would like to note is that if you ignite early or re-enter combat, this is also going to end the invisibility early. So make sure you play around this properly and use the maximum amount of time that you have invisible to your advantage. Well guys, that's all I have for you today. With Duskblade of Draktharr being an old assassin item getting a fresh update and put into the Mythic category for assassins, this is a great item to pick up if you're looking for some extra invisibility as well as hard-hitting damage and cooldown reduction in your kit. Don't forget to hit me up on Twitter, as well as for some awesome video game photography. Don't forget to hit me up on Instagram. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching, and we will see each other again tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.